Okay, so my initial thought to this was that ego is something that it will get in your way. It will stand in your way of progress in one way or another. So an example I can think of is you feel really overconfident. They say like your ego is big, and then maybe that's not actually the reality of things, and you could completely look totally stupid if you are feeling so overconfident and that's not the reality, and then you know come up short. Or your ego can get in your way in the other sense, and that it's not big enough, you know, like you undersell yourself, and sometimes you have to give yourself the credit that you deserve, and you have to like go into something feeling confident in order to succeed. Like we were talking about earlier, like some of the stuff is not even hard, it's just like it's the mental game to it. So if your ego doesn't match up to what the reality is, it's going to get in your way probably. Just in like academia as a whole itself, and I've been hearing other people talk a lot about like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm obviously not the only one to kind of experience this, and people tell me all the time, like different advisors and teachers that I've had throughout the years, like I don't believe in myself enough, and I am the one to kind of stop myself from doing the best that I can. And I feel like once you have that mindset of like you can't do something, or that you're not qualified enough for something, like it's gonna get in your way. And obviously like, there's tons of people out there who are who are not qualified to like do the job that they have, or to get the paycheck that they have. So I think I just kind of have to remind myself that like not everyone is totally prepared for the next thing that they're doing, or sometimes you just are and you don't even know it, so you just have to go for it.
I guess like ego to me is just like having a sense of self. I know that sometimes it's used like negatively, like, oh, if someone's like egotistical, it's like they're like too much about themselves. But to me, I don't know if I like see ego as like a negative thing. Like, um, I feel like it's important to be like self-aware, and I feel like I'm a better person when I like know myself better. Right, because I feel like people talk a lot about like trying to get rid of ego, which makes sense because I'm like, yeah, it's like important to not like be self-centered all the time and like think of others, but I feel like I'm less self-centered when myself is centered, like.
I mean, like, I studied psych, so, like, there's the technical answer of what your ego is supposed to mean according to Freud and stuff, but then there's also just the connotation society of, like, if someone has an ego, it's considered a bad thing. Like, if you use that phrase, they have such an ego. It's supposed to mean, like, you're big-headed, like, you're narcissistic, or, like, think too highly of yourself in regards to others. So I think it gets used that way a lot. But it can also mean your identity when paired with different words for people, I guess. I don't like the way that it's sometimes so negatively connotated, but to me it means more of like how somebody identifies, and it depends on how you use it, what you pair it with for each person. Growing up, I always had like a lot of self-assurance, like, and I didn't realize how lucky I was to have that perception of myself from such a young age and to hold on to it strongly until my family even started like poking fun at me because I went through middle school and both my older sisters went through middle school, had terrible times, got bullied, and just had really poor self-esteem coming out of it. And I went through it and I came out being like, yeah, I'm fine. I had people who, like, I'm pretty sure now looking back, maybe they were trying to, like, mess with me or bully me. I thought they were trying to flirt with me. Like, kid would like walk into homeroom every day and go pretend to puke on me, and I would just be like, okay, maybe find a more mature way to tell me you like me. Goodbye.
I love it so much.
So I didn't realize until my family started like joking about how weird I was or odd I was for making it out of middle school unscathed until I learned all the stereotypes about middle school really ruining a lot of girls' self-esteem. But then there came a period where, because it was joked about so much, like my family never meant harm, but it was joked about so much that I started to think, okay, since I seem to be abnormal for not hating myself, like I definitely have times where I don't feel great about myself or some of my actions or looks, like there's doubts every now and then, but for the most part, I've always been able to help myself get back to positive thinking or learn to appreciate different aspects of who I am in my life. And so, but there was a point in which all the jokes got to a point where I did think that I was narcissistic. I was like, am I like clinically narcissistic, and am I an awful person? And I would think like, do I think I'm better than everyone else? And I was like, no, I don't, but maybe I'm just tricking myself. Maybe I am a narcissist, and I would just freak out over it. And it took me then another couple years to realize that I wasn't or am not a narcissist, and that it's okay to really enjoy aspects of my personality and who I am, and also appreciate others for who they are. So it definitely was something that like nobody ever meant me harm in life from it, but I did struggle a little bit with wondering if I was a narcissist or like had too much of an ego, because I didn't seem to beat myself up as much as like my sisters did. But now I just count myself as lucky to have the mindset that I do.
I guess I don't have a super thoughtful answer about this. I feel like legacy is just what you leave behind you. Everyone leaves, and everyone leaves things, whether it's material or a feeling or memories or something like that. So those things that you leave behind you. I've kind of really been digging deep into the why. I feel like I've been drawn to this certain path, and I think it has to do with partly me wanting to leave a legacy of someone that has helped another person get from one point to the next in their life. I feel like I've benefited from that, or everyone has. Like there's someone who like really helped you out in a major way. So as a speech therapist, speech pathologist, I would, and ideally help someone gain some independence with whatever difficulty they might be having, even if it's just like the confidence to order food at a restaurant themselves, like things that are small that are just like things that make us feel good and like independent people. So I think if I could kind of help someone connect those dots of independence for themselves, like that's something that I hope people will remember.
Legacy is just like what you leave behind, and like what people remember you for and know you for. I know it's interesting because it's like we're on this earth for such a short period of time, and so like really what matters is like your connections with other people, and like how, I mean, it's important how you view yourself, but it's like important how other people view you as well. Like, do you want to be remembered as like the person that was like just like a grumpy old man all the time, or like do you want like all of the people that you've had encounters with to like remember you as like this amazing like fun, outgoing, caring person. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know, like our legacy is important. I guess that's why I like try and take advantage of like always meeting new people too, and just like making new relationships wherever I go, because it's like, I don't know, like part of living a successful life for me is like the amount of people that I touch. And so like, I guess like the more people to remember that legacy, like the better. I don't know. So that's something I've thought about a lot, I guess. So I'm kind of spewing as I go, but also I'm like, now I'm thinking, I'm like, does your legacy necessarily have to be remembered by people? Like, I think that you can like have an impact and no one may know about it, but like, you know, like say you're like an environmental activist and like we're like in this really important stage in the Earth's history where like we're either going to go on a hothouse Earth pathway or we're going to go toward a normal pathway. And like, you know, if you're one of those people who like help put the Earth on a better path to like actually being able to sustain without mass extinction, it's like people like thousands of years in the future aren't going to know your name. But I feel like in some way, like your legacy of what you did lives on just by the fact that like the universe is still existing, the Earth is still existing. So I don't know that your legacy is something that people need to know about for it to be like meaningful or impactful.
The first thing that came to my mind was honestly with theta. I was like I'm technically a theta legacy because Melissa was in theta. And so like I've heard that term just so much over the years that like that's the first thing that popped into my head. By the way, I'm real happy that they got rid of that. As a part of recruitment, theta officially nationally got rid of legacies having a leg up in making it to the next rounds, because it, of course, by doing so, lends itself to the history of privilege and racial segregation in Greek life. So you're not giving everybody from various backgrounds and identities a fair chance, just already pushing them down under.
Yeah.
Because of history. So I'm glad that they got rid of that. And
that's good.
Beyond that, I know legacy is like I kind of imagine it being like the impact you make or how people remember you. And I think stereotypically I hear it talked about like, oh, I want to leave like a legacy. I want to like make a lasting impression where people remember my name forever. So, and honestly, I couldn't care less if people remember my name, or like if people like 100 years from now even know that I existed, as long as I make an impact on the people around me and create some sort of chain reaction of positivity or love or some sort of impact, I'll be happy. Like, and it doesn't have to be something that like I get recognized for. It doesn't have to be something that is about me. I want it to just be that I am part of the greater good happening in this world. I would love to be a part of that chain.
Thank you for watching ZenGeist Soul Scholars. If you haven't already, please view our intro video to learn more about the intention of our channel. Also, please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more interviews and debriefs to come. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook to see our weekly self-reflective questions and the topics of new interviews to come. If you would like to become a Soul Scholar and partake in an interview, email us at zengeistofficial@gmail.com.